Anybody? We just take it for granted.
Depends on who's milking the cow.
Good point. But we tend to take it for granted that it's just, you know, it's a clean process. So the actual process is, of course, cows graze. Then we're going to harvest the milk. We have to store it. We transport it. It's processed, and then it's sold. So if we go through this step by step, and we're going to compare current times to historical times. Historically, cows grazed on grass, right? You don't see that from dairy cows very often anymore, unless it's a grass farm. Cows are now fed feed that are scientifically altered so that they can grow bigger and faster. That's with the use of soy, which you guys know the dangers of soy. Oopsie. It's with hormones, it's with antibiotics, and it's pesticides. And I've got some notes here on the hormone use. Hormone treatments are given to dairy cows to increase reproduction and to increase milk production. Humans' milk is designed to take an infant from 8 pounds to 40 pounds in 18 months. Cow's milk is designed to take a calf from 90 pounds to 1,000 pounds in 24 months. So cow's milk is not designed for people. For one thing, it has 20 times the casein of human milk. Casein is the protein that's in the milk, which leads to numerous allergic reactions and high levels of mucus in our noses and bowels. Anybody ever seen Elmer's glue, the logo? What's on it? Any idea why? It is made out of casein, which is the milk protein. So it's a very mucousy, thick substance, much like the glue itself. This is the most interesting paragraph. 50 years ago, an average cow produced 2,000 pounds of milk per year. Today, the top producers give 50,000 pounds. So how is that accomplished? Any thoughts? Yeah. It's drugs, antibiotics, hormones, latest high-tech onslaught on the poor cow's bovine growth hormone that you saw in that initial slide, which is engineered and designed by Monsanto, and that's the essence of it. Now, we think of pesticides as going on to plant products, right? Again, this article is amazing. A survey of the primary dairy producing areas in the U.S. indicated that 13% of lactating animals were treated with insecticides, they give some names, primarily by daily or every other day coat sprays. They're literally spraying the cows, which shocked me. I wanted to pass that along. Okay, so we're on to step 2, when you harvest the milk. Of course, back in the old days, we just milk right into a sterile container. Now, of course, everything is mechanical. It's a business. They load the cows in one at a time, and they put them on this big cycle, and it milks them as they get spun around to the exit. Kind of like a carousel. The milk then, once it's pumped, of course, historically, it was stored in those sterile containers in the dairy room or the cellar. Now, it's stored in silos that hold hundreds of thousands of gallons of milk, raw milk, and within 48 hours it's shipped out via these huge tanker trucks that you're seeing here. Of course, some of you may remember the old milk trucks with the milkman dropping off the milk. That's how they used to do it. So things have definitely changed, and not necessarily all for the worse. Here's where it starts to get bad when the milk is processed. Of course, there was no processing back in the day, and there's still, when you do raw milk, there's no processing. But now it's pumped into silos and undergoes pasteurization, which we'll talk about in a second. It's then homogenized, and there are other forms of processing. And then, once it's all processed and canned or bottled, it's sold in your grocery store. You cannot legally sell raw milk in the state of Iowa. So, it's a donation. Let's talk about pasteurization. Anybody know much about pasteurization? Go ahead, Sharon.
Just heat it up to kill
Yeah,
everyone.
exactly. So the definition is, oh, no, don't have it. This next slide. There are a lot of different kinds of pasteurization. The most common used in our area are just general pasteurization, which will last, the milk will last 10 to 16 days unrefrigerated and unopened. High temperature short time, or HTST, will last 2 to 3 weeks. Ultra pasteurization will last 2 to 3 months, and there's UHT or ultra heat treatment that will last anywhere from 6 to 9 months without refrigeration again. So let's look a little bit closer. The high temperature short time, which is one of the two most common processes for pasteurization, will raise the temperature up to 161 degrees Fahrenheit, leave it there for 20 seconds, and this whole process is designed to kill 99.999% of the viable organisms. What does viable mean?
Means anything that's alive.
Right.
Or can.
So it says that the purpose, of course, is to kill off the bad things in milk, but it's also to kill off the good things. So some of the good things that are in there are your lactobacillus. If you look at a cultured yogurt and it says the different bacteria that are in there, those are the good gut bacteria that make the microflora, the stomach bacteria, healthy. And you want a lot of variety. So when you get to the point where it's pasteurized, heating something up to 161 degrees kills a lot. Ultra heat temperatures raise it to 275 degrees. So what I've done, I'm going to turn this off for a second, is I'm going to do an example of what we're talking about. Now this has been cultured. This is good bacteria. Got that? Good. I'm going to add bad bacteria. And which ones do we want to kill, the good or the bad?
Bad.
Yep, that's enough. Now if this explodes, get out of the way. You know what, can you grab me a lighter, please, if you don't mind? So when we heat this, ideally we kill off just the bad, the good lives. What do you think is going to happen?
Everything's gonna die.
Yeah, pretty much everything's going to die, right? Are there any allergies here to aromatherapy or perfumes? No? Good. I just totally forgot my lighters on. It's all right. Thanks.
There you go.
Okay, so we're going to dim the lights just a bit. Okay, so what do you think is burning in there? Good bacteria, bad bacteria?
Oh.
Yeah, of course. Now, let's just do that for 20 seconds. And what we know to be true is that it doesn't matter what kind of bacteria or living enzyme in there, or is in there, they're all going to die, right? So if you ultra pasteurize it, and I raise the temperature to 275 degrees, is that going to kill more or less?
More.
More. So if we were to put this in layperson terms, when you pasteurize something, you kill it. If you ultra pasteurize it, you kill it again, because it's the second process. So if you drink milk, we'll talk about this because I've got some samples. When you're drinking milk, you have to know what you're looking for. But again, the whole purpose behind tonight is to encourage you to not drink milk unless it's raw. So now we're moving on to homogenization. Could you guys see better with the light off? Okay.
Yeah.
Homogenization, does anybody know what that is? Okay, what it is it's creating balance. So if you take raw milk and you let it set, the cream is going to rise to the top. So the homogenization is taking those fat particles, it's running it through an atomizer, and it's breaking them down into micro particles, so very, very small particles that can no longer coagulate and allow that to rise to the top. Once the homogenization is done, we're just going to let that go. I don't want to blow it up. Once it's homogenized, now you further process it where that ultra heat pasteurization, the UHT, comes into play. But a lot of people like the low fat milk or skim milk because it's fewer calories. And so what they do is they're going to filter out more fat. Again, it's just a complete misunderstanding. If you know much about nutrition, you know you want to stay away from low fat products. So raw milk is good. And again, I've got a little note here. By the way, pasteurization ruins part of the constituent